Okay, greetings, students. Instructor Alan G. speaking. Excuse me, this will be the second part of the Excel tables project. So Excel Chapter 5, the ebook for Excel Chapter 5, the main chapter project. This is the step-by-step main chapter project. Many pages because there's thorough explanations and lots of diagrams and images of what you need to do and very descriptive steps. I'm pretty impressed. I don't know if I've gone through this exercise before. It's been a while. It may have been 2 years since I've done it. I did find a couple of mistakes, but hopefully you'll be able to work around those, and maybe I can put corrections for those mistakes on the Canvas assignment page. So we left off from the last video on page 309, about halfway down, and the section for slicers begins. So this is where this video begins. I did open up my HR report file. So let's see, that should be open right there. This is the HR report file. And I haven't done anything to it since the last steps that I went through on the top of page 309, 308, 309. The last thing I think was a criteria custom date filter. And so my table is still filtered right now. And you can tell when a table is filtered, what Excel does is to make the hidden rows, or in the range where there's hidden rows, to make the row headings blue, a bright blue. So you see row 5 is the header row, that is black in color. But then when I get to row 6, it's in that bright blue. That's because that's where the data begins in the table. And so row 7 is missing. I can tell row 9 and 10 are missing, row 12. So the blue headings in the data region of the table show that there's a filter going on. There's a filter being applied. And in our case, it's a between filter. We chose to only show dates or records that reflect dates between a certain time period and another certain time period. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the book. And again, I'm going to try not to explain too much. And the reason is I have a tendency to do that, but the overview video, I think, is more instructional. And here I'm just going to demonstrate the steps and maybe give you some brief instructions. The first instruction is to click the table area and then clear the current sort and filter that is applied. So I just showed you that there was a sort and filter applied. So now I'm going to go to the data ribbon tab and click the clear button in the top center area. And so now all of the data in the table is displayed, and there is no special, there are no special sorts other than that custom sort we applied a while ago. There is nothing being filtered. So all of the data is being displayed. Something like 106 records, or I don't know, about 100 records maybe. Step 2, make room for the slicer buttons at the top of the table. We will add 4 rows between the title and the table area. Right-click cell A3, choose Insert, select entire row, repeat these steps until the table heading starts at row A9. So apparently 4 new rows. I'm going to go to A3, right-click, choose Insert. There is no Insert row, so I thought that was strange when I was reading the steps. It's just Insert. The context is that I'm in a row, so Excel is going to insert a row. So I'm going to click Insert once. Oh, now it says entire row. Okay, because I didn't select the row first, that's why they didn't know if I wanted to insert a cell or a column. Let me show you a better way. I'm going to hit cancel. I'm going to select the entire row by clicking the row header button. Now I'll right click inside of that highlighted row, row 3. And when I choose insert, they're just going to give me a new row. They won't ask me. The reason is because I've been deliberate with what I've selected. I've selected an entire row. So Excel knows to insert an entire row. It's a smarter way to work. So I'm going to click insert. And to repeat that 3 times, I'm going to press the F4 key, function key F4. So I need it 3 more times. So 1, 2, 3. So they said that our table should start at A9, and sure enough, that's where it starts. Perfect. Step 3, click back into the table area, choose insert, click slicer. So anywhere into the table area, insert slicer. The only time I've ever used this is as part of the exercise. So I have no idea where it is. Okay, got to look for it. Okay, they usually tell me the group. They told me the ribbon, it was insert, but they didn't tell me the group. Fortunately, there is a picture on the page and it's way over on the right. It's in the filters group. So I'm going to click the filter. If there's a filters button, click it. But there's 2 buttons that are part of the filters group, slicer and timeline. So I'm going to click slicer. And now the textbook says, when the insert slices dialog box opens, click the store and job status field names. Store, job status. Okay. Move and resize the slicer boxes to fit in the approximate area of I1 through J8. I1 through J8. And the next one is K1 through L8, I guess. Okay, so that looks nice. Well, it looks fine. I don't know if it looks nice. So I got the 2 slicers over there. Maybe I'll just focus on the right side of the page now. There we go. And the textbook says, make sure the buttons remain visible. Okay, very good. From the store slicer, click San Diego button. Now here, once again, in the textbook, I'm surprised to see this, but step 5 is in really large text. Step 6 is in really small text. So when they edited this, whoever edited it last, they couldn't pick the correct font size. I suspect they edited it in probably Adobe Acrobat, because in Word they probably wouldn't have had a problem. And I know it's a little tricky, but come on, you can't figure it out how to get the right font size so it matches. So it just looks a little unprofessional. But you know, it's also a little confusing because usually larger text means that it's a heading or a title, right? So it's confusing if you have different font sizes. It's not a very good strategy at all. All right, so from the store slicer, click San Diego. All right, here we go. So I'm going to set this up So I'm try to show you as much as possible of the sheet. So I'm going to click San Diego. Oh, when I click San Diego, guess what shows up? Only San Diego in the table. And look at the headings. They're all in that bright blue color. So that's pretty cool. So it's a slicer is, I would say, just a really easy to use filter, right? Makes it much easier to use, very user friendly. Someone that's not very good at Excel, you could create this for them, help them out a little bit. For those that are advanced with Excel, they may not appreciate that. 6, from the job status or status slicer, click part-time, okay? So part-time. Once again, the list gets filtered. Every time you apply a filter, if there's a change, what's going to happen is the number of results will be reduced. That's what a filter does. It reduces the number of results if it works. If it doesn't work, then the results, obviously stay the same. But if it works, then it reduces the number of items. So that's only 2 items left. Return to the store slicer, choose Seattle and Portland. Seattle and Portland. Oh, I think you have to hold control, right? Yeah. Seattle first, then hold control for Portland. It doesn't matter which one you select first, but just hold control when you go to get the second one. Oh, they're wrong. It's not control. It's shift, isn't it? Or can it be done at all? Or am I even doing it right? Let's see what they say. I guess I'll read more carefully. Return to the store slicers, choose Seattle and Portland. Notice the non-adjacent selection method is needed. Click select Seattle first, press and hold control, and then select Portland. It's not working for me. Seattle, hold control, click Portland. You know what? It is working. The problem is I only have part-time selected. That's why. Did they want us to remove part-time? No, they never told us to remove it. So when I do change okay, so now we're going to change to full-time. So now we can get a better view maybe to see if all the items that need to be showing are showing. So they said there should be 61 items. I have 61 items. How about the number? 49, 60, 432. Yeah. 4,960,432. Got it. My COLA percentage, I think, is supposed to be 2 decimal points. Oh, no, it's 1. It's 1. Okay. All right, so the filters are pretty cool, the slicer filters. $150,465.80. Okay, so that's the bottom right-hand corner cell. Advanced filters. Filter buttons are limited to combining fields using advanced logic or complex criteria. If the data you want to filter requires complex criteria, you can use the advanced filter dialog box. The advanced filter works differently from the filter command in several important ways. It displays the advanced filter dialog box instead of the auto filter menu. You type the advanced criteria in a separate criteria range in a worksheet and above the range of cells or table that you want to filter. Excel uses a separate criteria range in the advanced filter dialog box as a source for the advanced criteria. So in other textbooks, I've learned this, so I've done this, but I've never done it in the real world for a real purpose. You probably will never use this, okay? But I think you should learn it because maybe in your line of work, you will find an occasion to use it, okay? So that's one of the reasons to learn all of these different tools and skills, is because they don't apply to everyone in every situation, but if they apply to you, it could be worth its weight in gold. It could be really valuable to you. For example, you searched records for employees in the Seattle and San Diego offices and for employees working at full-time basis and have a base salary between the below salary ranges. So what they're describing is three different criteria, right? Location, job status in terms of full-time or part-time, and then salary amount. And for those of you that have taken Access, you understand this kind of criteria, this and criteria. So I guess that's they show you this infographic. It's called the Smart Art graphic that they developed just to make the information more interesting. But this is showing actually there's three criteria: store, job status, and then current salary. The way they describe the current salary, I think, is a little confusing. They have two different colored boxes. That information should really be in one box. Current salary is going to be greater than or equal to 50,000, while being less than or equal to 60,000, and that's for Seattle. For San Diego, that's a different set of criteria. So there's two sets of criteria. For San Diego, the set of criteria will be greater than or equal to 70,000, less than or equal to 80,000. So that's the range in San Diego. So Seattle has a lower salary window that we're looking for, and San Diego has a higher salary window because it's more expensive to live perhaps in San Diego, or the pay's higher for whatever reason. So step one, go to the employee data sheet, click the table, and clear the filters, right? You should have anticipated that. Anytime that we're applying filters, we're going to do something new, we eventually have to clear the filters. What happens is the slicers go back to showing you just all of the available choices. None of those buttons are active. They appear as blue in this particular case when they're inactive. And then when you click them, oh, I see how it works. They appear as blue when they're active. And when you click one, that particular one becomes active. The other ones become inactive. So let me just clear. Okay. Step two, select the Table Tools Design tab, turn off the total row. So you remember it's called Table Design, that particular ribbon tab. And then the total row is the little checkbox in the Table Style Options group. Remove the check. What you'll see is the calculations in row 112 will be removed. Okay, so that's the total row being turned off. Select the Advanced Filter sheet. Click cell A10. Down the bottom of your Excel window, choose Advanced Filter. Click A10. So A10 is going to be the location we're going to be starting to work in. The criteria mentioned in the above example has already been entered for this advanced filter exercise. Next, you will use an advanced filter to copy the records that match these criteria. So they actually did the exercise, part of the exercise for us. In rows 6 and 7, they entered the three sets of criteria: the store, the job status, and the current salary. Now, the current salary has two parts to it. It has a lower level and an upper level, because it's a between kind of a thing, right? So between 50,000 and 60,000 if you live in Seattle, or between 70,000 and 80,000 if you live in San Diego. But I wouldn't really call it 4 sets of criteria for two. Actually, I would call it 2 sets of criteria, Seattle and San Diego. And then I would call it 3 attributes per set of criteria. Okay. Store, job status, and salary range. So they've already done that for us. And as long as they didn't make any mistakes typing the information, it should work. And you see what they did is they typed in the correct name of 2 cities, Seattle and San Diego. Job statuses are typed correctly, and then greater than or equal to, less than or equal to some numbers. And they didn't put in commas and decimals. And if they put in an extra space or a wrong character, it won't work. That's why when I have students do this exercise from another textbook that we use, if they type in the criteria themselves, oftentimes they'll have a mistake if they have a typo. It's not that uncommon. But this should work pretty easily since we know that the data, that the criteria is typed accurately. So we're going to go up to the data tab, click the advanced button. Data tab, advanced button. Advanced dialog box opens. Click copy to another location option. Copy to another location. Click in the list range box to make it active. And then navigate to the employee data sheet. Okay, list range, I'm clicking inside of that field. I would call it a field. And now, whoops, sorry about that. And now I'm navigating to the employee data sheet. Okay, which is over here. And I'm going to click inside the table, right? I would think. Let's see. See what they say. And it says click cell A9, then press and hold the Control and Shift and Space bar to select the entire table. In the list box range, you will see employee underscore DB, square bracket, hashtag all, square bracket. There's another way you can do this, and it's an easier method. It's the mouse method. And this is the way another textbook that we use at school teaches this, and I think it's a better method. So I'm going to show you the other method, and what you'll really be focusing on is, do you get this indication? Do you get this kind of reference, okay? So we want to select the entire table. Well, so I clicked on employee data, and to get the entire table selected, whoops, I put my mouse arrow pointer in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to show you this very carefully. Zoom in. Here's the upper right corner of the table, cell A9, right? If I put my mouse arrow pointer in that top left corner, top left corner of the table, I put it in the top left corner of A9, and it's an arrow pointing down, right? I'm going to click once, watch what happens. The entire detail area of the table gets selected. Notice the reference, it doesn't have the word all. Now, if I put it in that same location and click a second time, now look at the reference. It has the square brackets, the pound sign, and the word all. It's the same principle that we used when we were selecting columns that I showed in the previous video. When you click on the top edge of a column, it selects just the detail or the data in that column. If you click a second time, it includes the heading of that column. Well, the same thing occurred here. When I click in the upper left corner the first time, it only selected the data inside the table. When I clicked the second time, it included the headings. So to me, that's so simple. I don't know why they show you those keyboard shortcuts, which you will never remember. Whereas the mouse tells you what you can do when it changes shape. You move the mouse around, you see a thick black arrow. You're like, oh yeah, that thick black arrow means I can click and select something. Oh yeah, if I click a second time, then I get a slightly different result. Anyway, I'm not sure why this textbook doesn't teach that method. I think it's a better method. So I'm going back to the textbook, and we're on step 7. It says click or press the tab key to move to the criteria range box. Well, all right, or you can take your mouse and just click into the criteria range box, okay? Either way. Step 8, from the advanced filter sheet, select A6 to D8. And there's different ways to select that information, by the way. So my cursor is in the criteria range box. That means I need to go select the criteria. Well, guess what? The criteria is A6 through D8. It's these, let's see, 3 rows, 4 columns, these 12 cells. So I'm going to click, hold, and drag over these 12 cells. And when I do that in the criteria range field, in this dialog box, you see that it says advanced filter being the name of the sheet. And then on the right side, it says, oh, son of a gun. It's trying to show you something. Let me do it again real quick. On the right side of, it says advanced filter, and then on the right side of that expression or that reference, it says A6 through D8. And notice it's an absolute reference. So they did that, I didn't do that. Step 9, click or press tab key to move to the copy to box. I'm going to click into the copy to box, and then click cell A10 to specify the location. So I don't know why they had us click A10 earlier. They probably should have just had us wait until now to do it. So I clicked A10, and a reference to A10 went into that third field. Okay, and then they show you an image of the way it's supposed to look, and then you click OK. So I'm going to click OK. And when I look down the sheet, I see the criteria, you know, where it was, where it always was. And then I see the data that has been extracted from the original table and copied and placed over here. So this was a query. Basically, this advanced filter was like we ran a query. In Access, it would be called a query. And you'll notice the birth date column is not wide enough. I'm at 100% zoom level. And so when you're at 100% zoom level, if you see hashtags, that means the column's just simply not wide enough. Or the format of that data is not the right format. It's taking up too much space. Let's see what they want us to do. Well, they tell us that the advanced search results with 7 employees that meet the criteria. Let's see, is that true? Or, yeah, 7. Very good. Only 1 person from San Diego, is that true? That's true. Okay. Okay. I'm wondering if I should expand that column, because in their image, the date column is fine. But in our image, the date column is not fine, or at least in my image. So I'm going to put my mouse between columns F and G, right on the column heading area, right on that line, on the column heading buttons, dividing F and G, and I double click. So it expanded, so now that I can read that data better. Well, I can read it. I couldn't see the data before. Insert table. Let's review another way to turn a range of data into a table. By the way, the result of this advanced filter, this query extraction, if you want to call it that, is not a table. This is not a table. This is a normal range of data. How do you know? Well, when you look to the right of your ribbon tabs, you don't see any green tabs that say table design. So that tells you that it's not a table. That is really the only way that you can know for 100% sure that this is a table or not. Does table design show up? No, it's not a table. It's a normal range of data. However, we're going to convert it to a table. So this is another way to turn a range of data into a table. We're going to go to the advanced filter sheet, click A10. So I'm clicking the first cell in the table, A10. From insert, I'm going to choose table, insert, tables, table. The create table dialog box appears. It asks where my table is. Since my data is all contiguous, there's no blank rows or blank columns in the range of data that I want to work with, then it automatically selects the correct range. And my table does have headers. So I think I'm just going to click OK, but let's see what they say. Click OK. And Excel automatically created the table. Now, it used the same theme that I used before, the blue theme. I'm a little bit surprised by that because it seems to me that the default theme was the green color, right? That's the color that came up before. But there's a possibility here. There's a possibility that once you use a certain table style in a workbook, all your tables come out in that style. That could be the truth. So green might have been the default color. Or actually maybe blue. You know what? I'll bet you, I think blue is the default color. I think green, I'm not sure why it came up green the first time. I think that the author of the book must have done something with the file, because I'm pretty certain that the default color for shapes, smart art graphics, tables, everything is blue. And the reason why, by the way, if you want to understand why that's the case, if you look at your color palette, and it doesn't matter what tool you use to look at the color palette, there's 10 colors identified, but the first 4 have to do with text and background. There's white background, there's black text, there's light gray background, and then there's blue-gray text. So those first 4 are not really your primary formatting colors. The next 6 are. What is the first of the 6? It is blue, blue accent 1. Blue accent 1, therefore, is the default color for this set of colors. So if you make a shape, a smart art graphic, a table, a chart, that blue will be the first color you see. Okay, but it doesn't explain really why we saw green that first time, other than I think that maybe the author of the textbook had set that particular, had changed the, had used that color green or something. Okay, sort the table. So step 6, sort the table in ascending order, A to Z, by store and employee ID, then by last name. Yeah, this is an advanced sort. It's 3 levels, right? So we need to go to the data tab, sort button, and use 3 levels. So I click anywhere in the table, data, sort. Level number 1 is going to be store, then employee ID, then last name. Store, add level, employee ID, add level, last name. Now, it's going to be A to Z for all 3, I think. So it's going to be alphabetical A to Z for the store. The employee ID is going to be listed from smallest to largest. They don't tell us to do it any differently, so I'll leave it set to that. And then the last names will be alphabetical A to Z. I'm going to click OK. And last names, I mean, we need to look at stores first, I'm sorry. Stores first, San Diego comes first, then Seattle. However, Seattle is duplicated, so now we need to look at Seattle and the last name, right? I'm sorry, the employee IDs. Oh, you know what? This was a stupid sort. This was really, they did this wrong. They did this wrong. And I'll explain why, and maybe you'll understand it. Store, employee ID, and last name. What is the most general? You always sort first. If you're going to do a multi-level sort, you always sort first by what is most general, right? That's going to be the store. What's next in terms of being most general or common? It's actually last name. It's not employee ID. Employee ID is already the most specific it could be. Each employee has its own ID. So they did this wrong. It should be sorted by store, then last name, then employee ID. Why? Because employee IDs are unique. They'll never be duplicates. That third sort will never happen. Okay, so for those of you that don't understand multi-level sorts, this is something to think about. The only way you get a second level sort is if there's a duplicate in the first level. So if more than one store appears, then you go to the next level. But the second level should be last name, not employee ID. So this just, you know, the authors of the textbook, they made a good textbook, but it's a lot to think about. And they know Excel reasonably well. They know it more than their students, but they don't know it. They don't know it that well, unfortunately. Okay, so auto fit the column widths and row height to make sure the heading row is visible. Okay, so to do that, to auto fit, I mean, it's really quite simple. Now, the one thing that's going to come out weird is maybe column A might come out funny. I'm going to select the entire sheet, and I'm going to double click between any 2 columns, boom, boom. And then I'm going to double click between any 2 rows, boom, boom. I'm going to try that again, boom, boom. So when you select the entire sheet like that, you don't need to auto fit individual columns because the entire sheet auto fits when you double click between 2 columns. And the same thing for the rows. When you double click between any 2 rows, all of the rows auto fit. Now, column A is going to look funny because of the titles. So typically you want to manually, after auto fitting the entire sheet, you want to manually fit column A. because it's always going to look funny because of the extra space needed by the titles. By the way, that step would have fixed our birth dates if we didn't fix them earlier. Save your work. Boy, they haven't told us to do that in a while. Control S, save your work. Let's see if my sort is the same as theirs. I see Patricia Hutton, Falls, Lloyd, Roeder, Ross, Taylor, Vasquez. Yeah, we have the same information, same sort. Analyzing worksheet data, introduction to pivot tables. Okay, so this is going to be a new sheet, I think. I think this is pretty cool. It's pretty fun. Follow the steps below to explore and build a pivot table report. Click employee sheet, click anywhere in the table area. From the insert tab, choose pivot table. So employee data, click anywhere, insert, tables, pivot table, from table range, I think, but let's see. From table range, and they want it to be in a new worksheet. Now, what's funny is the image in the book is not correct. They told us to name this table employee DB. And in the book, they didn't do that. It says table 2. So they're not even following their own steps. It's hard to, it's hard to create a textbook. I've created exercises. I haven't written a textbook, but I've created exercises. It's pretty hard. I mean, because you think you've thought of everything and then you miss something. I mean, so it just really takes a lot of review to get it right. New worksheet, okay. And I think we're just going to click OK. The dialog box does look different, so I'm going to hit cancel. And I'm going to try it again. I'm going to click inside the data, the range of the table, go to the insert tab, tables. I'm going to click, this time I'm going to click the top part of the pivot table button. Last time I chose the bottom part. This time I'm going to choose the top part of the pivot table button, where it's just going to give me a result. It's not going to give me, I'm not going to have to make a choice initially. I just choose the top part of the button. It's the same dialog box. Okay, I was thinking it might be a different one. So new worksheet, I'm going to click where's the new worksheet going to go? Well, we don't get to choose. We just click OK. So the new worksheet appears just like a new column or a new row. It appears to the left or above the previous item. It appears closer to the beginning of whatever the other item was. If the other item was, if you're duplicating, if you're adding a new column, it appears to the left of the previous column. If you're adding a new row, it appears above the row that you were working on. And if you're adding a new sheet, it appears to the left of the previous sheet. So that's why you see sheet 1 to the left of employee data. And I'm looking at what they got as a result. and it looks the same. So I think we did everything fine. I just think some of the dialog boxes may have changed a little bit since they wrote the book. So this new sheet, they want us to rename it Store PT. I'm going to copy that, double click on sheet 1, paste, hit enter. So now I have Store PT as the name of this new sheet. They explain what everything is in that diagram. You should look at that. From the pivot table pane, drag and drop the store heading to the rows section of the pivot table field area. Okay, so we'll be working on the right-hand side. Changing the shape of my window so you can see this a little bit better. There's store, and it needs to go to the rows section. The rows section is down here. You see there's 4 sections: filters, columns, rows, and values. I'm going to click on store, hold, drag it down to rows release. And over in the spreadsheet, I now see the row labels. From the pivot table field list, drag and drop the projected salary increase heading to the values section. Projected salary increase, click, hold, and drag down to values, release. Now check it out. In the spreadsheet area, things are changing. I get some values now. And they show that. Drag and drop the job status heading to the columns field section. Job status, columns. So now I got a new column. Or I'm sorry, I got 2 new columns, full-time and part-time. So you see how magical this is. And it's always correct. The pivot table is always correct. You just drag this information around and you reformulate it, or you redisplay it in various layouts. And it's always correct. It's just what is helpful to you. Sometimes you need to switch things around and put the rows where the columns are, the columns where the rows are, turn it inside out, you know? Now they want us to do some formatting. Follow the steps below to add the format. To add format, I think they have a grammatical issue here. Follow the below steps. I don't know why they don't say the steps below. That's what most people would say. Follow the steps below to add formatting to the pivot table. Or you could say add formats, plural, add formats to the pivot table. Or you could say follow the steps below to format. I think they just, I think that's probably what they were going for. So if you remove the word add, it makes sense. One of my students said to me, I think my problem with this course is my English is not so good. And now I'm thinking, you know what? Your English is probably fine. The textbooks, the author of the textbook is having trouble, you know, writing things in clear English. No wonder it's confusing. So that word add shouldn't be there. And we're also going to create a pivot chart. In the pivot table, from the pivot table tools, choose, click in the pivot table. From pivot table tools, choose design. So click inside the pivot table. On the top right of the ribbon area, you have 2 contextual tabs: pivot table analyze, pivot table design. We're going to go to pivot table design. In the pivot table styles gallery, select the light blue pivot style medium, light blue pivot style medium style 2. Okay, so I'm going to click the more button Okay, there we go. Light blue, pivot style, medium 2. I don't know if you can see that. It's right about here. Boom. Actually, that's darker heading than I expected. It's okay, but it's a little darker than I expected. I guess it's fine. Maybe it should match the other one. It's the same. It's in the same position in the color palette, so it should be the same color. Lots of diagrams in this. To format the numbers, select B5 to D9, B5 to D9. Currency number is no decimal places. So currency with no decimal places. Here's currency and then decrease decimals 1, 2. Perfect. Pivot chart. I think what's funny is the excitement and the emotion that they now share with us, right? The exclamation point. Now let's create a pivot chart. It's almost like the author of the book is excited, right? They should be. They're almost done with the, we're almost done too. So maybe we should be excited too. And click in the pivot table, click analyze, choose pivot chart. All right, so I'm going to click one cell inside the pivot table. I go to pivot table analyze and then pivot chart. I click pivot chart. A gallery opens up. Let's see what they want us to choose. Well, what's interesting is, oh, okay, there we go. Step 5. I keep getting distracted by these Mac user steps. They almost should be in a different color. You know, that would be really smart because you get accustomed to reading every step that looks the same. But if the Mac, I know they have the Apple there and it's indented. I don't think that's enough. I think it should be shaded in a different color, like a different background color or a different font color, probably a different shading background. Anyway, step 5 is where we're at. From the listed chart types, choose column and then 3D clustered column. So I'm in, oh, I have a clustered column, but here's the 3D clustered column. And I'll click OK. I'm assuming that that's what they want. Yeah. Move the pivot chart under the pivot table area, resize accordingly, save your work. So to move a table, you want to click, hold, and drag in an unused corner of the table inside. So I put my mouse arrow pointer, I'll zoom in so you can see this. I put my mouse arrow pointer on the inside upper right-hand corner of the chart. I click and hold, and I drag it down below, maybe leaving a blank row or two in between the table and the chart. Now, it doesn't need to be resized. It's the perfect size. So don't resize it. I don't know why yours would be different. It doesn't need to be resized. It's the perfect size. Save your work. Okay, Control S. Notice the formatting changes in the new chart below. This job says store buttons or column and row filters. Let's see what they're talking about. Oh, they're saying that you can interact with this chart. So this looks almost 100% like a regular 3D clustered column chart. The difference is you can interact with this chart. They're not going to have us do that. Let me just demonstrate it though. What if I wanted to just show part-time? There you go. Isn't that cool? And what if I wanted to show just full-time? Okay, that's just full-time. Now I'm going to show both. And that's the way it was originally. So it's kind of cool. And then the store. Oh, I didn't even see that. I can filter the store. Let me move the, so in the left, I have the store. What if I just want to do Seattle and Portland? Click OK. There's Seattle and Portland. How about San Francisco and San Diego? This is super cool. So I'm almost more impressed. Well, they're both impressive, but you can't do that with a regular chart, a regular chart. You cannot just manipulate it like that. And if you're in a meeting trying to look at the differences between productivity in one store or another store, I mean, that's just really very powerful. So sorting and filtering in tables and manipulating in pivot tables and pivot charts is really, it's pretty easy. You just need to know a few things, learn a few rules, but it's very powerful, I think. Because if you just have one spreadsheet and it's fixed and it's static, how can you see it in a new way? Most people cannot see it in a new way unless they're, I mean, they just cannot see it differently than the way it is. But what the pivot table and the pivot chart do for you, and what the table does with the filtering and sorting, is it all these tools allow you to manipulate the truth and filter out what you don't want to see, focus on what you do want to see. It's just, I think they're really good skills. Subtotals, I'm not crazy about this. I already told you about that. I think I told you about them, the fact that I'm not crazy about subtotals. Anyways, you should do them. You should learn about subtotals. Follow steps below to subtotal the employee data and provide a total current salary per store. You'll see what they mean by that. So go to the employee data sheet, clear any filters. I don't think I have any filters, but in the table for employee data, I go to data. Yeah, the clear button is inactive, which means there's nothing, there are no filters. Step 2, from the data tab, choose sort the store location using the preferred custom list of Seattle, San Diego, Portland, and San Francisco. So I'm going to go to the custom sort button, and I'm going to go to store, and under order, I'm going to click custom list, and then I'm going to choose the custom list. There are 4 lists that we did not put in. They were already there, months, days of the week. The last custom list is our list, and I'm going to choose it and click OK. So that's the primary sort. Let's see if there's any other sorts. Okay, so they tell you that you have to add that custom list if it's not there anymore. Anyways, mine is there. I'm going to click OK. So it's just a primary sort on one level, on the store level. So you'll see Seattle. Well, and it's not even alphabetical, right? It's our preferred order. So you can sort by alphabetical, reverse alphabetical, or you can create your own order, and that's what we did. We're going to go to Table Tools Design and convert to a range. Okay, so we're taking this table and we're converting it back to a normal range of data. So notice they had us sort it first. That was smart. Because the banded rows, the alternating colored rows, once we convert it back to a normal range of data, those are going to be fixed. Those will no longer be dynamic. So I'm going to go to the table design button, and then I'm going to click convert to range over on the top left. This will permanently remove the query definition from the sheet and convert the table to a normal range. Continue. Okay. Yeah. So it looks the same as it did a minute ago, but if you were to resort this, the banded rows would not stay alternating. They would get all confused. You would have white rows together and you would have shaded rows together as well. So it wouldn't look good. That's why they had to sort it first. Click the data tab in the outline group. Oh, in the outline group, find and select the subtotal command. By the way, our filters are gone. I saw that in the instructions. So when you turn it back into a normal range of data, the slicer no longer applies. So apparently the slicers are directly related to the table object, okay? I've never used slicers in the real world, but in a real situation, but maybe I will, and now I know that they only relate to tables. So I'm going to the data tab, and then on the far right, there's a group of buttons called outline. And there's 3 buttons in the outline group, ungroup, and subtotal. They want us to click subtotal. Little dialog box opens up. By the way, for that to work, I think you need to have had clicked inside the range of data. Because if you look at my sheet, you can see in the background, the entire range of data is selected. The only way that would be possible is if I had first selected a cell within the range of data, and it was selected. So in the subtitle dialog box, choose, that's an interesting way to spell dialogue. Is that an English way to spell it? From Great Britain? We, in this country, I think we usually leave off the UE. Anyway, in the subtotal dialog box, choose the store field in the at each change in for the use function, choose sum, okay, so store, sum, and then check current salary as the calculation, the field to be calculated, then click OK. So at each change in store, they don't want projected salary increase. They want current salary. Oh, I did that wrong. At each change in store is at the top. At each change in store, so that's the first setting, we want to use the sum function, and we want to calculate the current salary. So those are the 3 things. At each change in store, sum function, and current salary, not projected salary increase. And I'm going to click OK. And it's important that if you're going to have at each change in, whatever you choose up at this first setting, it needs to be grouped by that. So that's why they had to sort it by the store. So an outline is created. And subtotals are probably created too. We'll have to look at those. Okay, so let me show you how this works. Kind of go to a larger view. You know what? I might remove the freeze panes. I still have that freeze panes, and I've never really liked it. So I'm going to go to View, Freeze Panes, Unfreeze Panes. I'm tired of that. I want to be able to scroll up and down without having to worry about that. So first thing I want to show you is that all the Seattle records are grouped together. Then notice row 59 at the bottom of the Seattle records, we have a subtotal. So guess what? That's why they call it a subtotal tool. A Seattle subtotal. And notice what column is being subtotaled. It is the current salary column. So the calculation is on current salary. And at each group, at each store group, we have a subtotal. San Diego subtotal, Portland, San Francisco. We even have a grand total. Okay, now what about this being an outline? I want you to notice the 3 buttons in the top left. This is what I do when I check your work. I click those buttons. So in the top left, I'm going to click each one. 1, 2, and then 3. I'll do all 3 of them. I'm going to start with 1. When I click 1, you know what? I'm going to start with 3. Sorry. Start with 3. 3 is what you have. Everything is being shown. So I guess 3 represents all detail is being displayed. Now I'm going to click number 2. The second button just shows me the subtotals and the grand total, no detail. I think that's kind of cool. And now I'm going to click number 1. Number 1 is the most reduced view where it only shows me the grand total. And then 3, remember, shows everything. So that's like an outline where you can close different levels. There's level 1, level 2, and level 3. They want us to save our work. Okay, they explain the totals. Okay, it looks like they're going to have us make a change. This is blue page 330, adding a subtotal within a subtotal. As mentioned at the beginning of this section, you can use multiple functions within the same subtotal. We will now explore how you can sum current salaries and also provide the average current salary for each store location within the same subtotal. So right now we have the sum of all the current salaries, but we're also going to find out the average. And the average will represent, you know, on average, what each individual store salary is, or person's salary is at that store or in that region. I'm just reading this because it seems like grammatically it's incorrect. It says, we will now explore how you can sum current salaries. I think that's not supposed to have an apostrophe S. It's not possessive. It's supposed to be plural. How you can sum current salaries, plural, not possessive, and also provide the average current salary for each store location. So this apostrophe S is incorrect. Okay, so once again, more problems with this author or this group of authors, or the fact that there's no editor that could correct these things. So we need to hire you, some of you. Click within the subtotal data, go to outline, click level 3. All right. I'm going to just click somewhere in Seattle there. Click one cell. When they tell you to click inside of a table, click one cell. I don't know if they specify that. One cell. Be careful. It said within the subtotal data though, right? So I think they mean maybe that calculation. I'm going to click directly on the subtotal calculation. I'm not sure if that's what they mean. Go to the outline, click level 3 to display all the subtotal. Actually, level 3 is not going to do that. It's going to be level 2. Oh, no. All of the, no, 3 is correct. I was thinking in reverse. Sorry about that. Yeah, 3 is all of the subtotal data. From the data tab, click subtotal. Okay, so with all of the data displayed, click on any subtotal, and from the data tab, they want us to click subtotal. So that dialog box opens up with the same exact settings that we had initially set. And that shouldn't be surprising, right? So now we can change the settings. Select the store field for each change in. I already have that. Oh, they want us to, oh, wait a minute now. Okay, see, I got the same exact dialog box. I'm going to hit cancel. I think they wanted me to click anywhere except on the subtotal calculation. Okay. I don't think they wanted me to click on that. So I'm just going to click on just some row, some random row up in Seattle there. Okay. And now I'll click subtotal button. They're giving me those same settings. I'm thinking that that is not going to work, but let's see. Okay, well, I have a new understanding. I think the way it's going to work is, so it doesn't matter where you click in the detail area, click one cell, go to outline, click subtotal. What it shows you are the same settings that you have already employed. However, this is going to be a new calculation. That's what I think. That's what I think. That's how I think it works. It shows you the last settings you used, but these are not the settings that are in place right now. This is a new dialog box that simply reflects the most recent settings you used. So I'm going to change the function to average. And what else do I need to change? Anything? Add subtotal to current add subtotal to current salary. And let's see, I don't see anything else in that area, so that's good. Uncheck replace current subtotals. Okay, so that's the key thing. So where it says replace current subtotals, we need to uncheck that. So that will, this is the step that actually adds the second calculation to the subtotal or to the outline, okay? So it's kind of weird. You kind of really have to know how it works, you know? So that's important. That step 6 is critical. Otherwise, it will keep just, you'll be stuck in that loop, just doing the same thing over and over again. Let me go ahead and click OK, see how it looks. So now this explains why some students will send me their report, their file, and I'll only see one subtotal. And I remove points for that. I say, you only had one subtotal. What happened to the average? Now I know the mistake they made. They forgot to uncheck that little checkbox. So it's pretty cool. I don't think this subtotal tool, I don't know. I think you can do this stuff with a table, with an Excel table, and I think it's easier. Because this is a normal range of data, so it first has to be sorted correctly, then converted to a subtotal kind of a feature, outline feature. I think you can probably get this information better just using a table, a regular table. So I don't know that you'll really use this tool, but it's kind of cool, I think. Save your work, okay. Oh, is that it? Oh, preparing to print. Now, a lot of students will be so tired of the project by that point, they are like, hey, that's it, I'm done, I'm out of here. You got to do this preparing to print. I take off points for this if you don't do it. This is where you change the arrangement of the orientation, footers, page numbers, all that stuff. So go to the advanced filter worksheet. Okay. At the bottom of the screen, choose the page layout option. At the bottom of the screen, choose the page layout. What they mean is the status bar. This is called the status bar. That area is called the status bar. And this is these are the page view buttons. They want us to switch to the one called page layout. Okay, so they wanted us to go to the advanced filter page, switch to the page layout view, scroll to the bottom, the footer area, and there's 3 sections down in the footer area, just like there are in the header area. The textbook says, click into the left section of the add footer panel from the header and footer design tab. So when you click into that left section, notice in the top right, there's a contextual tab, header and footer. That's where a lot of your tools will be for working with the header and the footer. And they want us to insert the current date. So on the left side of that ribbon, I choose current date. And the code that goes into that area, make this easier for you to see. The code that goes into that area is ampersand, and then it's an ampersand, and then it's the word date in square brackets. Then the textbook says, click into the right panel section. So on the right side, and then I'm going to click file name. So file name. So the code for that is ampersand, square bracket, file, close square bracket. And by the way, when you leave the date field, it updates. Just like when you leave the right field for the file name, it updates to the file name, okay, the correct file name. You only see the code immediately, and then when you get out of that area, you'll see the information that the code is referencing. Click back into the spreadsheet to close the header footer section. I think it takes 2 clicks, doesn't it? Oh, no, not in this view, just 1 click. I'm thinking of Microsoft Word. Choose the normal page layout. Okay, so I'm going back to the regular normal view. I wouldn't call it a layout, I would call it a view. So I just call it the normal view. It's not called, what they did there is they use 2 different names, the normal view and the page layout view. Those are 2 totally different things. So you either call it the page layout view or the normal view. You don't call it both. No one caught that. From the File tab, select Print, and then change the orientation to landscape. Okay. File, Print, instead of portrait, landscape. And in the scaling section, choose Fit Sheet on 1 page. Fit Sheet on 1 page. Okay, good. Save your work. I think I have to get out of this view before I can save my work. Well, we're going to go back. We're going to go to the employee data sheet. So let me just, we're not going to print. We're going to go back to the regular working view. So you can hit the back button, or you can press escape, the escape key. You won't lose those settings. And so I'm going to go to employee data, and I'm going to do Control S to make sure it gets saved. Follow these the steps below to add a footer to indicate when the last update was made, and apply settings to the employee data worksheet to ensure it will print correctly if needed. Click on that sheet. In the bottom of the screen, choose page layout. Page layout is just a convenient way to put in the footer information. I don't ever use it, really. I don't like it very much. And this is set to be on 2 pages, so it's a little confusing. You may get a message telling you that page layout and freeze panes are not compatible. You should click OK to remove the freeze panes. I removed freeze panes several steps ago. So when you go to page layout, they might tell you to remove your freeze panes if you haven't removed them yet. At the bottom of the page, click into the left section of the Add Footer panel and type revision date. I'm just going to highlight. I guess I can't highlight it. It's hyphenated. Add a space and then click the current date button from the ribbon. So actually, I'm going to copy this and I'll update it in a minute. Copy. So I'm going to go to the left side of the page, left side of the footer, paste in what I copied, and I'm going to remove the date because that's not correct. And I'm going to insert, I'm going to go to header and footer, and I'm going to insert the current date. And when I click out of that field, it will update. Okay, cool. Click in the center page or center panel, add the page number. Okay, page number, not page number. Click in the right panel, type revise by, then your name. Well, I'm going to highlight this. Copy, go to the right panel, paste, revise by, and now I'm going to type my name on the right side of that. Or, you know, student name. So it's going to be your name, whatever your name is, revised by student name. That'll be on every page. Click back into the spreadsheet to close the header footer section. Okay. Choose the normal. They did it again. Normal page layout. No such thing. Normal view, my friends. Normal view. But it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Ask me. From the top file tab, choose print. Change the margins to narrow, scaling, fit all columns on one page. So file, print, normal margins. No, we want narrow margins. Scaling. Well, don't we want landscape? Wait a minute now. Did they forget to tell us landscape? Maybe not. So I'm going to choose, for scaling, I'm going to choose fit all columns on one page. Yeah, that's what they're telling us to do. It's going to make the text really small. If we had done this landscape, I'm going to double check. It really should be landscape. In the real world, you would probably want to make it landscape, unless it's going to be part of a report or a binder, and your boss is just insistent that all the pages are portrait. Okay. It's going to be hard to read that data being that small. See if they ever told us to put it into landscape view. They never did. Save your work. Again, you don't have to print it. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the regular editing mode. And when I get there, that's where I'll save. And all of those settings will be retained. And when I download your file, I go into print preview to see if you made those changes. So make sure you make the changes. This last set of steps is really ridiculous. I can't imagine anybody wanted you to do this, but because Excel has the capability, this textbook decided to teach it. Inserting a 3D model to enhance a worksheet. Really? This is going to enhance the worksheet? Are you serious? No, it's not going to enhance the worksheet. I suppose it could, depending on what the content is and who the audience is. Insert a 3D model to the worksheet, blah, blah, blah. Click the advanced filter sheet tab. There's the advanced filter sheet tab. Then click the insert tab on the ribbon, insert. Click 3D models button from the illustrations group. Illustrations, 3D models. If necessary, choose from online sources or stock 3D. Try that again. Stock 3D. So it's going to connect to the internet and show me some, choices. Tower. They want us to look for a tower. Okay, tower, and enter. I got an extra character there. Let's see. Okay. From the results, choose a model that looks like the Space Needle. And click again. Well, that first one, I think, looks like a Space Needle, I guess. I don't know what it is. Well, what the heck is a Space Needle? You mean Seattle Space Needle? What makes you think I even know what that looks like? I'm not a big fan of Washington and Seattle. California's, crazy enough for me. I don't need those people up there with their Space Needle. Is that first one supposed to be, it looks like a Asian pagoda needle. That doesn't look like a Space Needle. I'm not even sure what the Space Needle, well, I think I know what it looks like if I see it. Let me type in Space Needle. Why wouldn't they have that, right? By the way, no offense to those people up in Washington State or Oregon or whatever. Okay, we don't have any Space Needles, that's why. Well, I'm just going to choose a tower. I'm going to choose a water tower. So I click the one I want and I click insert. And looks like it's taking some time. I mean, really? This is a big deal. It's not just clip art, it's more information than clip art. That's why it takes a little time. So it goes to the center of your viewing area. If you click in the center of the image, you can rotate it. It's pretty cool. That's why it took some time to insert. So it's pretty cool, but what does this have to do with Excel and why? I mean, if you're working with children and you're having them do PowerPoints and you're having them work with images in PowerPoint, this is kind of cool. This will keep their attention for 5 minutes. But what would an adult be doing with this, right? Let's see what they want us to do next. That's the Space Needle, huh? Okay. Upper left-hand corner. Oh, this is funny, yeah. They do the same thing that I do. I make this mistake too. Upper left-hand corner of the sheet. Is that the upper left? Not where I come from. Not unless you're looking in a mirror. But you know what? I'm not going to be too critical of that because I often make that mistake. I know what I mean. I say upper left, upper right. I'm going to put it where they picture it in the document, not where they tell me to put it. They obviously meant the upper right corner. So going back to the spreadsheet, I'll zoom out a little bit. And it does resize just like a regular piece of artwork, clip art. Grab a corner, drag it in, and then click anywhere other than the center of the image in order to move it. And then Yeah, I think I got a good angle. The angle I chose is so that I'm kind of looking up underneath it, you know, from in front of it, but underneath it. I still don't know the value of that. Or I'm still skeptical of the value of that. Okay, so that's the final view. Let's see what the book wants us to do. Check the spelling. Oh, goodness gracious. Save. All right, I'll check the spelling. F7, right? That is the shortcut in Microsoft. Do you want to continue checking at the beginning of the sheet? Absolutely. Spell check complete. You're good to go. Wait a minute now. I want to check all the sheets. So I don't remember where the spell check is in this program. Oh, review. It's got to be review. First button on the review ribbon. Well, do I have to check each sheet? Let me go to employee data, spell check. Ah, yeah, you do have to check each sheet. I'm going to ignore Jemiah. I'm going to ignore all Jemiah and Lava Boy or whatever that is, La Boy, and Good Run. So I'm ignoring all of these names because they're proper names. Elaine, ignore. Okay, now I got to check the COLA sheet. Okay, so really the problematic sheet was the employee data. That was the problematic sheet there. Okay, I'm going to do a Control S, and this project is done. So good luck, submit it, and I will see you in class, or I'll see you in the next video.